Hi everyone, my name is Eva and today I'm going to be talking to you very briefly about the impact of multiple sclerosis on parenting. So this was a mixed method systematic review which stemmed from the Ames RN Summer Research Fellowship in 2024 and was supervised by the wonderful Dr. Fiona O'Keefe. So first of all, I would like to talk to you about some of the context as to why we thought this research was so important. MS is commonly diagnosed between the ages of 20 to 40, which coincides with the time that many adults may already be raising children or might be thinking about starting a family. A lot of the previous research has focused on the impact of parental MS on children, who it has been found that they can experience negative emotions and behavioural difficulties and are reportedly happier and better adjusted when they believe that their parent is actively coping with MS. We wanted to take a more parent-focused approach with our research. So, as we know, depression and anxiety can be more prevalent amongst MS populations, and these have previously been linked to lessened parental self-efficacy. When you look at how debilitating MS symptoms can be in everyday life, and you pair that with the already quite challenging tasks associated with parenting, like cooking, bathing, driving, making time for play, resource and finance management, you can really imagine how these symptoms might make these everyday tasks a lot more demanding. So we set out to answer these three research questions. Does MS have an impact on parenting? If so, how and in what ways is parenting impacted? And can we identify any potential supports for parents with MS? So to answer these research questions, we chose a mixed method systematic review, ensuring that all the relevant evidence could be captured. This followed a convergent integrated approach, which involved transforming the wording of findings into a universal format and then examining all of the evidence together. So in the end, we ended up with 11 quantitative studies, and these mainly explored how parents with MS perform on measures like coping, parent-child interaction, mental health, parental role participation, and fatigue. 9 of the studies were qualitative, and these had a more broad exploration of the lived experience of parents with multiple sclerosis. 2 of the studies were mixed method, and these focused on affection levels with children and fatigue and physical functioning. So, after the synthesis, we identified 4 overarching themes. Risk and protective factors describes the various factors which can make the parental role harder or easier. So physical and cognitive symptoms were mentioned by most of the parents as making parental tasks a lot more difficult. Depression and anxiety was found to relate to lower levels of parenting sense of competence, and depression levels in parents with MS were found to be higher than their partners and than parents without MS. Higher perceived social support was found to positively correlate to parenting efficacy and maternal satisfaction. Parenting activities and daily struggles encapsulates the main issues that were reported by parents with MS. So they reported issues with interacting with children, mainly in making the time and maintaining the energy required for family outings and playtime, as well as role modelling behaviours for their children and setting boundaries. A lot of the symptoms of MS, mainly mobility, fatigue, balance, and I can't remember the other one I was going to list, but all of the symptoms, inhibited parents' ability to complete the household and childcare tasks that might be associated with the parenting role. Parents also spoke about misunderstandings arising both within and outside of the family. Misunderstandings within the family often arose from cognitive difficulties, making communication a lot more tricky. And outside of the family, stigma and lack of awareness from others often led to negative experiences and misunderstandings for parents. So the effect on parents themselves and their family relationships is explored in theme 3, where parents spoke about misunderstandings sometimes leading to tensions in the family, and spoke about the emotional challenge of trying to navigate communicating with their children about their MS symptoms and the uncertainty of their progression. Parents also often experienced feelings of guilt and fear about how their children may be impacted by their MS. And for many mothers, some cultural and societal expectations led to feelings of failure and discussions around how you can be a good mother with MS. The fourth theme, managing and coping, spoke about how parents in the studies reported that they managed with their MS. So a lot of the parents reported significant self-sacrifice in order to tend to their children's needs, which did lead to exhaustion and perhaps suggests a need for additional help. Parents spoke about effectively managing their fatigue using time management strategies and prioritization of tasks. So can we answer our questions? Does MS have an impact on parenting? Yes, parent-child interaction in various aspects can be impacted, and the challenges associated with the parental role can be made harder due to MS symptoms. How and in what ways is parenting impacted? So we see that cognitive issues and the challenges around communicating about your MS with the family can lead to communication issues. There are multiple practical implications due to the symptoms of MS and how they can make the parenting tasks harder. And parents also spoke about the emotional impact on themselves as a parent, speaking about feelings of fear and guilt. Can we identify any potential supports for parents with MS? They tended to mention prioritization and time management as being helpful to managing their MS, so perhaps resources as to how to effectively implement these strategies may be beneficial for other parents. The risk and protective factors point to several potential avenues for support, such as social support and mental health supports. And two of the studies included suggestions from parents themselves who spoke about supports that they would like to receive, such as family counselling, information sessions for family members, advice on how best to support their children, job search assistance, and help with budgeting and bills. So we propose a holistic approach to supporting these parents, ensuring that in their routine appointments, they are asked about how their MS is impacting their parental role, and focusing on practical support with the tasks that are impacted, family focus and child-friendly information resources to make communication with the family easier, social support and mental health support, and continued efforts to increase accessibility, primarily in public spaces which families often use. So just to conclude, the literature does provide evidence that MS does impact parenting, and we've summarised the ways in which it does. Possible points of intervention and supports have also been highlighted. I think that future research should include underrepresented cohorts to ensure that we can apply these findings to everyone, or close to everyone. Only one of the studies within the 22 included was from outside a Western country. Longitudinal studies would be important to track if the experience changes across different stages of child development. In terms of limitations, 10 of the 22 studies included female-only samples. This may be expected due to the higher prevalence of MS in women, but this could be something that could be explored further. The experiences of LGBTQI couples were not explicitly represented in the studies either, and this might be interesting due to understanding the impact of the stigma associated with parenting with a chronic condition and the stigma related to parenting with in a couple who is LGBTQI. We also didn't include grey literature in our systematic review. So, yeah. Thank you, and I would like to specifically thank Ames RN for funding this research. It's been an amazing experience and it's great to be here today. And I'd like to thank Dr. Fionnette O'Keefe, Principal, Investigator and Supervisor for all of her guidance throughout the process. Thank you.